So I was just
Everybody use the
told
bathroom, go.
5 minutes ago I was going to speak. I don't have anything prepared, but how long do we have? No, I'm just kidding. Actually, John he gave the best man speech. Well, he was one of my best men at my wedding in December. And he used it as an opportunity to give more of a roast. So you may think that I'd want to pay him back a little. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I hope that none of what I say will affect Sonia's decision tomorrow. First off, a lot of people here probably don't know this, including Sonya. But when John first started dating her, he was actually still seeing his ex. That's right. It wasn't just a casual thing. He was with his ex almost 7 days a week. The truth is, at that time, John was still in love with his ex, and Sonya was getting in the way. Now, by ex, I'm of course referring to Sonny McLean, a Boston in Santa Monica. For those that don't know, John lived across the street from Sonny's, and for many years, it was fair to say he spent more hours inside that bar than anywhere else. It was known to everyone as his second home, and also his first. But then Sonya came along, and if I ever needed any sign that she was different, it was seeing John voluntarily spending time away from Sonny's to be with someone else. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Like I said, actually, I didn't say that, but I've known John for 15 years now. When I first moved to LA, we met, and we've been friends ever since. We both came to LA to pursue writing, and because we made that decision, we've been able to share for over a decade and a half the absolute joy of watching all of our friends become a lot more successful than us as we struggle through countless rejections and misery. But enough about our dating history. Actually, speaking of dating history, as John and I became close friends, he became my #1 wingman in my seemingly endless quest for love. For over a decade, you could find John and myself trolling the bars of Hollywood and the west side of Los Angeles. And you may not believe this, but in that over a decade time, both John and I were never once, not once, rejected by a single girl that we approached at a bar. This was, of course, because neither of us actually ever approached a single girl. I'm here tonight to tell you that I spent over a decade going to bars looking for girls with literally the worst wingman ever. And so did John. Both John and I at bars looking for girls was akin to a blind and deaf man trying to solve a crossword puzzle, acting as pilots of the space shuttle. Looking back at those times together, I wouldn't have it any other way. Sure, we had some struggles, some tough times, but we were always there for each other. Personally, there were many times over the years where I had some issues with money, and by issues I mean not having any. So I would turn to John to borrow money. He would always lend it to me no matter how many times I asked. It actually got to the point where I started to refer to John as the Bank of John. John also had a nickname for me. I became known to him as the Wheelman. This was because when we went out to bars to not speak to women, I was always the one driving. You may wonder why I always drove. Of course, if you ever seen John drinking at a bar, you would not wonder this at all. I drove because I valued my life and the lives of any vehicle or any vehicle driving within a 10 to 15 mile radius. Another big part of our lives has been basketball. For many years, John and I used to play every single day together. We'd meet up at the course in Brentwood or Santa Monica in the afternoon and play until the sun went down, sometimes hours after that. And those days of playing ball every day together really said a lot about us. Mainly that we didn't have steady employment. But those were great times. So up to this point, if you didn't know John and you only had my words to go on, you'd assume he's an unemployed alcoholic who's terrible with women. But the truth is there's not many better friends you can have in this world than John, and there's not many better people either. John truly cares about his friends, his family, his soon-to-be wife, and he always puts others before himself. You can always count on John, and honestly, that's not something you can say about a lot of people. He truly is one of my best friends in the world, and I couldn't be happier to be here sharing this incredible moment. And honestly, most of us never thought this would come. So now we come back to why we're here, and that's Sonya. I remember calling John the day after their first official date. And I remember him telling me everything about the date, and he was going into great detail, how she conveniently forgot her wallet, how they said goodnight to each other, if they kissed, and we ended up talking for maybe 45 minutes just about that date, and that really wasn't like John. So something felt different to me about this girl even before I met her. I don't want to say at that moment I knew she was the one, but I think John did. And then I met Sonya, and I've spent the last 4 years watching them together, and from the very beginning until this moment tonight, it just felt right. Sonya complements John perfectly. They both share the love of the outdoors, traveling, exploring the world, and now they each found a partner they can do that with each other for the rest of their lives. Sonya's kind, calm, collected, smart, has a great sense of humor, and is someone you can always trust, just like the man she's about to marry. A lot has changed in the years since I met John. I'm married now, so I no longer need the Bank of John. mainly because I married a doctor. I mean, seriously, she's loaded. And tomorrow, John will be a married man, so he'll no longer need the wheelman. But I'll always look back at those formative years on the west side of LA, playing ball during the day and going out at night as some of the best times of my life. Here's to the next best times of our lives. Here's to John and Sonya. Love you guys. Oh. Good speech. Thank you.